Good evening, Lizzie boys, and welcome back to my channel. I have water stuck in my ear, so I figured, you know what, today is a good day for making another tier list video, and you guys requested Ever After High Basics. Okay, holding my camera from now on because it just fell. And I figured, hey, may as well do it. So I found this tier list that seems to have all the basics. I don't believe anyone is missing. Yeah, I see everyone. I see Crystal, I see Nina, Jillian. Where's Jillian? There's Jillian. Here's Jillian. Here's Nina. And Michelle. Those were the last basics that were released. So everyone's here. The gang's all here. I was considering doing every single Ever After High doll, but I figured that would just be like a really long video. So doing a bit of a shorter one where we're just gonna cover all the basics. Since there's less dolls here, I might go on tangents about everyone. So, yeah, I guess prepare for that. And I'm trying to keep this stupid ad closed, but you guys know how it is. So anyway, let us begin with Apple. Actually, I think I'm gonna modify the tiers again. Here are my updated tiers. I'm trying so hard to keep this stupid ad away. Stop seeing this ad. It's covering my content. So I added an SS tier, which basically means all-time favorite. The S tier is going to be like favorite, but not as high as the SS tier. A is good, B is eh, C is the mid tier. So C is where I think that they're just kind of eh. D is kind of like on the cringe side, and oh my god, go away. And F is in the I just don't like them tier. So starting with Miss Apple White. I've always liked Apple as a doll. She's pretty. So I'm gonna stick her in the A tier. She was detailed. I think she was a good starting point. I really like her faded brows variant too. I hope I can thrift one in good shape someday. Next up is Hunter. And honestly, I'd say that Ever After High has some of my favorite boy designs, because Hunter's going in B tier. He's probably my least favorite of the boys, not for any particular reason. He was alright. I don't know. His stupid flocking on the side of his head, it tends to stain other dolls if I lay him down on top of them, which that did end up happening due to storage reasons. So he stained an Apple doll that I had, and it was really annoying. I ended up having to sell her because I couldn't get rid of the stain. I bought a new one though, so it was okay. Next up is Courtly. Courtly Jester, the character who I got my channel name from. B tier. I love Courtly as a character, but they did her dolls so dirty. Courtly deserved a much better doll than the bullshit that she actually got, because she had painted on leggings, she was missing tons of paint detail, they didn't even try to style her hair to cover her eye. They were more than capable of doing it, they just didn't. If I get one more Universal Studios ad, I'm killing someone. Anyway, yeah, Courtly's in a B tier. Next up is Rosabella, and I'm gonna drop her in a S tier. I don't know if it's the bias talking, but I always really liked Rosabella. When she got announced, I was so excited for her. I was like, oh my god, she's like my little mini me. And she still is. We both have brown hair, wear glasses, and like women. Rosabella's a woman liker. I don't care that she ended up with Daring Charming. That was a cringe ship anyway. My dogs are barking. Next up is Duchess Swan. Honestly, an SS tier for me. Duchess was such a pretty doll. I just honestly loved everything about her. Obviously they did change some things between the show, such as her hairstyle. Certain aspects of her dress were changed as well. Her corset was made a lot thicker, but it never bothered me. I think Duchess turned out great in doll form, and I still remember when I was getting her, that night, both Duchess and Kitty were flashing in and out of stock on Amazon, and I was just going apeshit, spamming the order button, spamming the add to cart button until it finally let me do it. And then I was like begging my mom. I was like, mother, mom, please let me order doll. And she's like, okay, just shut up. And I ordered the doll. My mom didn't actually tell me to shut up. But yeah, Duchess. Fond memories of her. Next up is Raven. Another S tier, just due to nostalgia. My first ever After High doll was Basic Raven, and she was a Christmas gift. She also had the most crooked face known to man. I still have her, though. I don't know why I'm talking about her in past tense like she doesn't exist anymore. She does. And she's still just as wonky as ever. Next up is Dexter. Honestly, an A tier. His doll was so accurate. Like, I got the version from Walmart when he, like, first came out that had the big extra, like, curl of hair rooted on. And honestly, I think that improved my Dexter experience. I really like him. He was a little bitch in the show. Like, I would definitely bully him in real life. But he was fun to watch on the show. And I love the way his doll turned out. Next up is Fabel Thorn. And she's another B tier. Fabel was a cool character. They did skimp out on some details between the show and the doll, though, which is why I'm deducting some points. With all of the other characters so far, other than Courtly, they've all been pretty accurate to their in-show counterparts. But I can't really say that about Fabel. They skimped out on a lot of details with her. One of the main ones was that, when she was actually released, her purse wasn't painted like that. You can see that there's, like, blue paint on it. She didn't release like that. Obviously, that's a really minor thing, but there was other stuff, too. Like, I'll just put her animated counterpart on screen and then compare it to the doll. You can definitely see that some things were changed. But, yeah. Next up is Holly O'Hare. Another A tier. I love Holly. Holly and Poppy were honestly an amazing set of twins. I like how different they are from each other while also still looking alike. I'd say that compared to, like, newer doll twins, like the Storm twins, they were the original Storm twins. Because the Storm twins are twins that look much different from one another, and so are Holly and Poppy. They're both A tiers for me. I will admit one of the drawbacks to Poppy is her scarf, because it's made entirely of plastic and kind of limits her range of motion on her arms. You can't, like, make her lift her arms above her head, for instance. It just doesn't work. She can't really, like, cross her arms behind her head, which that's not really a pose I would put her in anyway. So I'd say it's fine. Plus, she comes with a bunch of little hairstyling things that go inside of her purse and are removable. She has a little scissors for rings, for a ring, because she's a hairstylist. Poppy, I believe, her ring was like a brush. My point is Holly and Poppy are such well-made dolls. I love them. Poppy also had 2 piercings on one ear. It was like a chain connecting them. The details on those 2 were immaculate. Mwah. I love them. Next up is Justine Dancer. Justine Dancer. She's an A tier. I really like Justine. I remember when she first came out, I was actually on a trip, and my mom, like, ordered her for store pickup from Walmart, and we went and got her on the last day. They were gonna, like, put her out on shelves and like, cancel our order if we didn't pick her up. But, we did. And I remember being so happy with her. Justine is really pretty. Her stock photo is a lot lighter than I remember her looking, though. She's darker than that, right? I don't know. Justine was done dirty, though. She was introduced, like, so close to the end of Ever After High and hardly ever got any content. She only got 1 doll. I wish that Ever After High could have continued, because it would have been nice to see Justine get more dolls. As it stands, though, I like the 1 doll that she did come with. It was really pretty, so I'm giving her an A tier. Next up is Gingerbread House. Our first C tier. I don't have anything against Ginger. She's a cool character. She's alright in theory. She got 3 dolls, and good for her. But I just was never a big fan of her design. I don't know. I like her basic doll. Looking back, it's a nice, like, look for her. But there were some aspects of it that just made no sense. For instance, her jacket had this, like, glitter trail attached to the back of it, but it was like a short jacket. Think like Toralai's jacket, like Claudine's basic jacket. Like, it wasn't a very long jacket, so giving it that weird, like, translucent, like, shimmer glitter trail, it was weird. Some of her choices were odd too. Like making the piece that goes over her shoulders blue. Wasn't a fan of that. It just really clashes with everything on her, if you ask me. So yeah, she's a bit mid, but Ginger did have much nicer dolls. Like I really liked her playset bakery doll. Next up is Lizzie, instant SS tier. Lizzie is elite. I love Lizzie hearts. Her doll was done so well. There are a couple details that were changed between her doll release and her show counterpart. For instance, they changed her gloves from red in the show to black on her doll. They cut the, they didn't paint the cards on her shoes. They were painted solid gold on the, in the, doll, but in the cartoon they were, like, painted to look like cards. That's a minor detail, though. I'm okay with it. But yeah, I really like Lizzie. She's definitely one of my favorite dolls. I'm very happy to own 2 of her basic. I just wish I owned one in the box. Pray for me. Maybe someday I'll find her. Next up is my girl Briar. I used to give her this ridiculous voice whenever I voiced her. I would give her like a really exaggerated Valley Girl accent. Hey guys, it's Briar! Or something like that. Oh, yeah, I put her in S tier. I love Briar. I'm lucky enough to have her faded brows variant as well as her regular doll. Fun fact about my Briar, I actually tried to rip her head off once because I wanted to make one of those Ever After High customs, and I fucking broke it. So I went whining to Mattel because they didn't require a receipt or anything, and I was like, meh, my Briar broke, meh, and they sent me a new one. I just had to send back the broken neck one. It all worked out. So, that's my little Briar story. I think I got her for Christmas. My mom got her at like TJ Maxx or something. I miss when dolls would show up at TJ Maxx. Like, good ones. So yeah, S tier for Briar. Next up is Bunny Blanc. Bunny Blanc. She goes in B tier. Bunny was cute. I like her in theory, but she was just a very bland doll. Also, they did this really dumb thing with her where she doesn't have an actual vest. It is half of a vest, and it's sewn onto her dress. Very weird. I feel like they should have just given her an actual vest, because they gave her an actual necklace. Like, that would be her, like, little scarf, her ascot, but they couldn't give her a real vest. I've always thought that was really dumb. So, points are definitely being taken off for that. But overall, she's a much cuter doll in person than her stock photos. I prefer her real face to her prototype face. So, yeah. Next up is Madeline Hatter. She's an A tier. I remember getting Maddie at the store. I went and got her at Walmart. I actually brought my Cerise Wolf to the store with me when I went to get Maddie. Oh my god, I used to bring Cerise Wolf out in public all the time. I'm surprised I never lost any of her shit. Oh, I wish Cerise Wolf was on this tier list. She'd be an SS tier. But yeah, I love Maddie. She's a very cute doll. I really love her design. She was a lot of fun in the show. So, you know, I think A tier is fitting for her. Next up is Kitty. Another C tier. While she definitely grew on me over time, I will never understand the thought process behind the decision to look at her in-show design, see that she has a regular, like, human skin tone, and then deciding to make her purple on the doll. It makes no sense at all. Absolutely 0 sense. I don't understand. They also took away the arm warmers that she wore all the time. I made some custom ones for my doll, and overall they just cut a lot of things about Kitty's design. They changed the brown fur she wore to be gray. I feel like it makes her look a bit washed out. But yeah, overall, Kitty was a bit of a disappointment. So, C tier. Next up is Mira Shards. She's probably an S tier for me. I really liked Mira. Mira was a very, like, pretty character. I do wish that her doll had had the same skin tone that she did in the cartoon. Once again, I'm going to put a picture of her on the screen. They definitely washed out her doll's skin tone. I don't know why they did that. But I still like Mira. I liked her design a lot. I do wish that she had gotten more time in the Dragon Games show because we knew it was the evil queen because she was daughter of the magic mirror. Ooh. Yeah, she was obviously the evil queen, but I do wish that we had still gotten more time with Mira as a character. It would have been cool if Mira was her own character, maybe like being used by the evil queen, but no, they just decided this is the evil queen. I remember when that revelation like shook the Ever After High fandom, all like 20 of us. It was great. Next up is Darling, and she's another A tier. Once again, I really like her, but she was just so different in the show. She had like a much softer face in the cartoon, and she didn't really have that soft expression on her doll. I prefer her doll a lot. I'm glad it didn't look like she did in the cartoon, but her characterization has always kind of bored me. I also wish that her and Apple had gotten to interact, so here we go. There we go. That's their interaction. They're next to each other on the tier list. Yeah, I really like Darling as a character, though. Personally, I shipped her more with Rosabella, because they're roommates and besties, but you know what? Her and Apple is cool, too. Next up is Jillian. Jillian. Where do I want to put you? Probably C tier. The thing about Jillian is that once again she looks nothing like her in-show counterpart because of the weird face they gave her. I don't like that they shrunk the characters' heads as well as made them all smile towards the end. The smiling face molds is kind of what killed Ever After High, honestly. As well as starting to skimp out on details regularly. But yeah, Jillian has a nice design, it's just the face that drags her down for me. And once again, she looks nothing like her cartoon counterpart. Picture, please. Thank you. So, that's just my main gripe with her. I like her, though. I remember getting her at, like, a really big Target. Next up is Very Good Fairy. C tier. She's just a bit boring. She didn't really have that much jewelry, and I don't know, I just never really vibed with her. She's basically a walking trans flag, though, so good for her. She's just walking trans bride. I mean, it's technically silver, not white, but I'm counting it. Next up is Ashlyn. Definitely an A-tier doll. Ashlyn was a really pretty character. Her first doll had such big lips, it was so pretty, but then they kind of like shrunk them in all subsequent releases, and I believe it's because the original Ashlyn was produced in Indonesia, and all following Ashlyns were produced in China, so she lost the big, luscious lip mold, so that kind of sucked. But her original doll was so pretty. I loved all of the pieces that she came with. She really did feel like a Cinderella without looking super stereotypical, because they could have easily made her like super fair-skinned and blonde, and made her wear only light blue, but they tried something different with her design. They focused more on the like loving nature aspect. They threw pink into the design as well. They gave her like a slightly more tanned skin tone. It was nice. I like Ashlyn's design a lot. Actually, I almost want to move her up to S tier. Yeah, fuck it, why not? Ashlyn was really pretty. Next up is Alamid, Wonder Mid. I feel mean. Okay, he can be a C tier. Alistair Wonderland. When I heard that Alice was gonna be getting a child in Ever After High, I was like, oh cool. Alice child. And then they're like, it's gonna be a boy, and I was like, oh cool, a boy. His doll was very disappointing. For one, his pants were not full length. Like, if you look at a character like Hunter, his pants went all the way down. His boots did not serve to cut off pant length, while Alistair's do. His pants are like capris, and the boots hide that fact. He was much more detailed in the show. He had freckles. He had a lot of different features in the show. It looked like he had like a map print drawn on his shirt. His water canteen was actually like, you know, like painted. That thing came just plain. His boots were plain too. There's like nothing on them. And once again, similar to what they did with Bunny, his shirt and his jacket are attached. It's one piece. So if you want to just make him wear his shirt or just make him wear his jacket, you cannot because they're connected. So that's always bothered me. Overall, Alistair was cool. I just don't think he deserved a doll because he hadn't even been introduced yet. Meanwhile, we had characters like Hopper, Humphrey, who had already been introduced, and they didn't get dolls at all. I would have rather seen either of them get produced than Alistair because I didn't really care for him, but I guess they wanted to complete the Wonderland trio. So, well, the Wonderland five-some. There's like 5 of them. Yeah. I guess 6 when you include Courtly, though. God, there's a lot of them. Next up is Melody Piper. This is another instance of the prototype face looking completely different from the final product. And here, I actually much prefer the prototype face. I'll put a comparison on the screen right now. I have a lot of editing to do for this video. But, basically, Melody was always a really cool character. I always liked her. They did end up cutting a lot of details from her. Like her shirt and her vest and her skirt, I believe, were all one piece. They were doing that a lot towards the end. They were still trying to make the dolls look high quality, but the budget was being cut left and right. She was also originally supposed to have leggings that leg tattoo would have been like a print on, but they ended up just making it a leg tattoo. I'm not against that or anything. I think it's fine. But overall, Melody got done kind of dirty, but I still like her, so she gets an A tier for me. Next up is Crystal. D tier. I never really liked Crystal Winter. I got her right when she came out, because I was like, oh, Crystal's so cool. Crystal, more like Crustal, because her leggings were painted on. A lot of... Epic Winter was objectively the worst Ever After High movie, as well as Ever After High line. So, yeah, D tier. Next up is C.A. Cupid, and she's gonna be another C tier. She's very detailed and well made, but when you compare her to the masterpiece, the majesty that is Monster High Cupid, she's kinda boring. It's not as cool as Ever After High. I mean, it's Monster High Cupid. Ever After High Cupid did get some nice dolls, but I don't know. Throwing her in Ever After High both kind of ruined her character because she just became a Dexter simp. She didn't get to do much. She didn't even help people find love. She was just like, oh, I'm gonna be a simp and maybe help Hopper in one episode try to woo Briar, and that was it. I forgot that Hopper had a crush on Briar. I just remembered that right now. But yeah, Cupid's just a little mid for me. Next up is Cedar Wood, who I'm going to plop in the S tier. Cedar was such a cool character, honestly. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. Cedar. I remember when she first came out, I was so excited to go look for her. I wanted to go to Justice. I begged my mom to take me to Justice, and I actually found her. And I got her, and I don't remember what went wrong, but I ended up complaining to Mattel, and they sent me a new Cedar, like just brand new in box. I can't believe they used to do that. That was crazy. But I was so happy when I got her. I've kept my Cedar in like basically like out of box condition, like freshly unboxed condition. Her hair is all the factory curls. She's in really nice condition. Cedar was one of the last truly detailed basic dolls, but even then they cut a detail from her. It's very minor, but her socks originally had these red crisscrosses on them. Maybe once again I'll put a picture on the screen. Yeah, and basically those were not present on the doll. It was so weird. I never noticed it before until her doll came out and I saw somebody point it out and I was like, has she always had that? And I went back to the first episode. She did always have that. Honestly though, I kind of prefer her without the red crisscrosses, which is why I put her in S tier. I just feel like the red kind of looked tacky because she doesn't have red anywhere else on her design, so it just would have stood out kind of weird. But yeah. Next up is Blondie Locks. Another S tier. I really like Blondie. Blondie's honestly always been one of my favorite characters. I mean, at first, I wasn't that fond of her, but like, after a while, she started to grow on me, and I really like her. She had 2 face variants, and I got my favorite, and that's all that matters. Overall, she's just really cute. I thought the idea of making her like an influencer, like the school gossip, like the Spectra, was a cool idea, and I was glad that they did that. I thought it was cool. But yeah, Blondie. Next up is Michelle Mermaid. B tier. Once again, a lot of details were skimped out on when it came to Michelle. Seeing her in the show felt so surreal because she looked completely different. Like, once again, the face does not match her in-show counterpart whatsoever. Tons of details are missing. It's just disappointing, but I've always liked The Little Mermaid, so maybe I'm a bit biased to put her a bit higher than I would have normally. Next up is Cerise Hood. She's an S tier. Cerise was a really pretty doll. I do much prefer Cerise Wolf. I would definitely put Cerise Wolf in SS tier. But Cerise Hood was still really pretty. I always liked the hair. I liked her face. She had 2 different face variants. I got the one that I preferred more, but I used to have the other one. I'm gonna have to put a picture on the screen again of the Cerise variants. The one I prefer more has softer features, basically. Yeah, the S tier. He goes into F tier because he doesn't have posable legs or real pants. We waited so long for a daring doll, and this was the bullshit we got. His jacket didn't open. It was one piece, and it was basically his shirt, even though he always wore a shirt underneath his jacket, but he just didn't come with it on this doll. They said, fuck it, no, we're not going to put any effort in. And we're also going to pair him up with Rosabella for some reason. Disgusting. But yeah, Daring was just a very disappointing doll. And finally, we have Nina Thumbell. I'm sticker in B tier. Nah, A tier. Nina was really cute. I didn't expect her to have Draculaura's voice. That was a very random decision. But, overall, Nina was a really cute character. I liked her. I like all the little petal details on her skirt. I liked all the multicolored flowers. I liked the contrast of her having a darker skin tone but also having blonde hair. I thought it was really cute. Overall, her design was really well done. I liked her. And with that, that's everybody. That's my list. So these are my final rankings. This video took me a while to edit because I was doing other things in the meanwhile. But, yeah, if there were other dolls included, like, Comic-Con exclusives, I would have put Cerise Wolf in SS tier. I don't know if anyone else would have made it into the upper tiers. Like, I probably would have put Comic-Con Raven into B tier because of the reused shoes, and, Comic-Con Cedar into D tier because I don't like where they took her color direction. The pink hair was ugly. The nose was ugly. The open mouth was ugly. You either commit to it and make an articulated mouth, or you don't. I know it would have been, like, hard because it's a doll, but still. But, yeah, this video ended up much longer than I expected. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to suggest another tier list for me to do sometime. And, yeah, hope to see you in my next one. Bye! I still can't hear in one ear.